Hello, my dear students. I hope you have cleared all your doubts from our previous lectures. Now, moving forward towards our next lecture, today we'll be discussing all about the marketing environment. Being in third semester, you have already learned about the business environment in the last semester. So, today, something different we'll be talking about, that is marketing environment. As the term itself says, we are today going to talk about the marketing and the related environments. As per your syllabus, that is Veer Narmad Sahaj Gujarat University syllabus, we'll be discussing this following points. As such, every environment has two basic factors, that is micro environment and the macro environment. But our university has specifically mentioned about the few environment that are totally 6 environments that we'll be discussing today. So we won't be moving out towards that. We'll be sticking to our 6 points and we'll be discussing all about the marketing environment. First, the definition of the marketing environment. According to the famous author, that is Philip Kotler, he stated, marketing environment refers to the external and the internal forces and factors that affect the company's ability to develop and maintain successful relationships with the target consumers. So from a very first lecture and the definition, as we know that the marketing is all about the relationship with the consumers, the target consumers. So here again Philip Kotler is talking about the target consumers, that what we understand by the thing. If a company is not able to maintain its healthy relationships with the target consumers, then we are not able to do a successful marketing. Hence, Philip Kotler has mentioned about the successful relationship with the target consumers. Meaning, what do we understand by the marketing environment? Marketing activities of a business firm are affected by the huge number of environmental factors that are surrounded by the company. These factors or forces are collectively called marketing environment. It comprises of all those factors which have an impact on the marketing and marketing efforts of the enterprise. All right, so this is a basic meaning of that anything that affects to a company or its marketing activity will be considered as a marketing environment. So let's not waste our time and move forward. Let's start with the very first thing, that is factors that affect the institution's marketing strategy. Here institution means the company, an organization. It can be an organization, it can be an NGO, it can be a service firm, it can be a manufacturing firm, or it can also be a business to business company, companies like Larsen and Turbo or companies like Hindustan Petroleum. It can be anything that could be considered. Okay, as I stated above that we are not going to discuss about micro and macro. Our university have given a specific points to be discussed, so we'll be discussing only those specific points, and among them the first point is the demographic environment. So now the question arises that what do we understand by the demographic environment? Basically, demographic environment consists of these things. If you can see here, that is the size of the environment, the density of the environment, the location, age, gender, race, and occupation. So study this thoroughly, take a moment, read it, and then we are going to start up with an example. Okay, now as everybody knows that the size of our nation is huge. We are like 7th largest country in the world with the size of the if we talk about in kilometers in the area. If we talk about with the population, then I think we are the 2nd largest populated countries and one of the with the highest youth population in the entire world. 17% population of the entire world resides in India, and in total if we consider about China and India, it would be nearly fell up to 33.3%. All right, so this is our it's all about the size of the market. Why every company of the world that are selling FMCG products or that are selling short shelf products are interested in Indian market? The one of the reason is that our population, the consumer base, we have a good consumer base with a good income. We have a mixture of an income, so they are attracted towards the Indian market. All right, we'll be talking in detail, so you don't need to worry about it. Second is the density. Now India is a huge country, but not huge as countries like Canada or countries like Australia or China or say for example US. Fine. If we talk with the perspective of China, then China is 3 times larger in context of demography. But with the population, again, it's not there is no huge difference among us and China. But we are 1/3 in the size of the area of from China. And if we compare with Canada, Canada is again maybe a very large country in context of the area, but the population is very less. Like say for an example, the population of Australia is only to the size of Gujarat, and the total population of Gujarat is greater than the population of the entire. Okay, so we need to understand that aspect, that there is a huge difference between the demography of these countries. Age we have talked about, as I said, that 50% of people of India are below 35% of age. There is a bit gender gap in India about male and female. Like in India, there are less amount of a female in comparison to the male. Whereas if we talk about our neighboring country, they have a more ratio of female in comparison to a male. We have a huge casteism. We have a huge different caste race in our country. Occupation also, we have a different varied kind of a people. Some are job oriented, some are business oriented. So we have a different kind of a mixture of a population. We don't have a specific kind of a people anywhere in the entire India. Now, how does it affect? Fine. So let's talk about it. I'll just discuss an example, then I'll give another example also. India has a wide population between 18 to 40 years of age. It means that demand of a youth related products will be more, whereas China has a more agedly people, hence the people will have more demand of the medicines and so on. Fine. Now let's understand that why the internationally acclaimed companies are interested in India. Say for an example that 17% of the total population of India resides in the cities, whereas the rest 83% of population are today also living in the villages. Fine. So if you see very carefully in the FMCG market, now I hope you understand the FMCG, that is fast movable consumer goods. Fast movable consumer goods are the goods that have a very short shelf life in a grocery store or a kirana store, or you can say in supermarkets. Fine. They are basically known as a fast movable consumer goods. So why these people are interested in Indian markets? And my question still arises there. If you see a product that are very cheap in nature, like 1 rupee shampoo sachet or 2 rupee shampoo sachet and so on, so why people are still making this kind of a products? Why they are been still sellable in Indian markets, or why they are still sellable in cities? See, there are two reasons behind that. We believe in a philosophy that let's try and then use it at a maximum level. We also have a population, they are huge in number, but their income is very less. Fine. We have a huge income disparity in India. So companies are interested in classes also, to sell to a specific class of a people with a high income, but these companies are also interested in sales volume. Now say for an example, a person who's earning say for an example 700-800 rupees a day, being a daily worker or being a daily wage worker, and somebody asks him to buy a very expensive shampoo bottle, so he cannot do that because he have other thing to buy, the other necessity to buy. So definitely he will give preference to the products like edible products like wheat, rice and etc. So he may not buy a shampoo. So but there is a need of a shampoo, there is always a need of a shampoo. So what he will do, he'll buy a sachet. So this is how the demography environment of a nation works. Fine. Or that has been affected to a marketing strategies of any company. So we need to understand this thing also, that demography plays a very vital role to understand the marketing, to understand the people, and to design that kind of a product to sell this kind of a people. All right. Second is the economy. Fine. How does a nation's economy work? slowly and gradually Indian economy is changing. We have a drastic change since year, say for an example, 10 years down the line, maybe in year 2010 or in year 2000, 1990, the bank interest rate were as high as 13 to 14%, whereas that have today come down to as low as 4%. There were people previously who used to just have a fixed deposits. They used to earn interest out of them and they used to run their houses. But now things have been changing. Fine, today we are moving slowly bit towards a capitalist kind of economy. Now savings won't work. You have to make an effort to spend your life to earn a bread and butter. Simply one cannot live on the past earnings. Fine, what used to happen earlier, that a retired person is there, he gets a handsome amount he used to deposit into the bank, he used to earn some interest and he can run his house very easily. But now this really won't be possible because interest rates are too low. But this somewhere is good for the marketing. Why it is good for the marketing? Because if interest rates are down, definitely the loan rates are also down. This will influence people to buy stuff on loan. For example, at a certain point of time when car loan was say for example 10% and 12%, the people are not interested. But now the same car loan is available at 7.5%, so people will be influenced to buy this kind of a goods. Same as with the housing loan, same as with the personal loan, same as with the gold loan. So how economy is changing, that also because the disposable income of Indian people is increasing. Now what do we understand by the disposable income? Disposable income is equal to the total income of a human minus taxes minus savings. So whatever is left with him is considered as a disposable income. So gradually India has seen a huge rise in a disposable income, and when a disposable income rises, he tries to spend at a different places. India has not seen as many as theaters they have seen in past 5 to 10 years. India has not seen a kind of a people flying to a foreign tours what they are seeing in this past 10 years or 15 years, because gradually the disposable income of Indian people have increased, and this income is trying marketers are trying to capture this income so that people spend over certain kind of a luxury goods, and the marketing goes on. All right, let's take a moment and try and read it what the point says here. The economic environment consists of the factors that affect the consumer spending pattern, what I just mentioned. Fine, they are trying to talk about the spending pattern. All right, and their purchasing power. Purchasing power is measured by the people's income, rises of a goods and services, saving and credit, which can be augmented through the borrowing. It is also influenced by the government fiscal and the monetary policy. What I'm just saying is that RBI keeps on changing the rate. You all have learned this thing in your business environment, so you know what is repo rate, what is CRR, what is SLR. So when government, when I say government here, I means the Reserve Bank of India changes the rate of interest, there is always a fluctuation in a kind of a demand that has been seen. Okay, you go to Flipkart or you go to Amazon, so what is happening, whatever product you see there is always an option of a EMI. So when a consumer gets the option of EMI, he is always interested to buy the product on a credit, because he needs that product. As we learn in marketing, influence the want. Fine, we need to influence the want because needs are not going to change, needs are going to be the same. So if marketer is influencing a want by giving a certain kind of a credit or by giving a certain kind of a rebate, then definitely there is going to be a huge demand of a product. Okay, let's move with the third point, that is political and legal environment. Now normally it has been seen that the political environment has been explained separately than the legal environment. We have merged this point, but if you want you can write in your examination differently, that is political environment differently and the legal environment in a different way. Okay, now political and regulatory environment in which a companies operate in an profound impact on its marketing decision. Among others, a stable political environment excures the confidence to the public. For an example, the banking industry is one of the most regulated because the banks are fiduciary responsibility. This is to curb the excessive risk taking by the banks, which may undermine the stability of our economy in an event of bank run caused by the less than prudent lending policies. Now, what they're trying to say here, uh, when RBI has a strict norms over the lending of a money or lending of a loan to a common public, so this will somewhere affect the marketing decisions of the company. And when this kind of a rules become lenient, they become easy, fine. So the marketing agencies, the companies that are manufacturing certain products take advantage of this, and they promote people to sell this kind of a product in a market. All right. Political environment affects highly. If you see a recent example that TikTok, including another 59 applications from a neighboring countries, are been banned, because this is not a legal decision, but this is a political decision taken by a government. There are certain legal decisions also, like for example, one cannot use Chinese applications in context of teaching. So you cannot use it because that is legally been abided by the for some government. For example, Google has been banned in China, Facebook has been banned in China, WhatsApp has been banned in Dubai. People cannot use a WhatsApp in Dubai because the Dubai government has Emirate government have banned this certain kind of an application. So they are legal foundations. There are certain political foundations, certain legal foundations. Okay. Next, coming over, that is our socio-cultural environment. Now, let me tell you, students over here, that socio-cultural environment is one of the most important environment that affects any marketing decisions, because this is one of the most changing environment. This is one of the most dynamic environment that affects to the marketing decision. We have discussed this earlier also, that political might not affect that much as the cultural environment affects to any marketing decision. Fine, so let's discuss about it. I request you to take a moment to read this entire paragraph. I'll hold till that point of time, and then we can start discussing the entire environment. All right, so I'll take a hold for a moment. I'll give you 10-20 seconds to read this entire paragraph, and then we can continue. Okay, let's continue here. What the point is trying to explain here is that the people's ideas and value, beliefs and norms. All right, now in India still many people believes that we should not buy products made from steel and iron on Saturday, or we should not buy sleepers on Saturday. Fine. So these are our beliefs. These are certain norms are been there. We have certain ideologies, we have certain values towards the product. So many products are sellable also, or many products aren't sellable because of this beliefs and values. Fine. Like in India still he might be someone might be a chief executive officer of any big company, but before starting a plant they definitely do a puja, because that are the Indian values he's been survived from. So he'll definitely do that. So there are certain values, there are certain things that Indian people always follow, and every country has this kind of a value system. Fine. Value system is a very strong thing that affects any organization, that affects any individual, any family. Say for an example, in India still many people believe to live in a joint family. Fine, but if you go to a western countries, there are certain people who believe that let's stay in a same city, but they won't be staying with the family. Fine. So the consumption would be different in those countries, the consumption would be different in our country. Maybe our consumption would be less because we are staying in a joint family. So this kind of a strong value decision and the cultural decision affects the marketing decision of many companies. Fine. First, I'll give an example here. Firstly, many people used to believe one house, one television, but now slowly this needs are been changing. Now many people believe that everybody has a personal choice of watching a television. So many people have started installing a television in their room, fine, where they live. So they may have a different choice set of watching a television. Maybe the father would like to watch news, maybe son wants to see something else, maybe the small children wants to go with the Cartoon Network. So this kind of a different decisions affect the marketing channel. Fine. Firstly, people used to believe that one house, one car, but now everybody needs a car because everybody has a different job profile, everybody needs a privacy. So this kind of a needs have shooted a different kind of a demand into the market. Fine. As I mentioned in one of my lecture, that there was a time when we had a huge demand of unstitched clothes. Surat textile market has a huge demand, but now with the span of time, what has happened with the span of time, the ready-made kurtis have taken place, the leggings have taken place, same as with the male also, that ready-made garments have taken place, the shirts, t-shirts, jeans, and unstitched customized market, it's slowly getting vanished. Why it is getting vanished? Because people have moved their choice from unstitched clothes to customized clothes to the ready-made segment. So this segment have taken a different place over here with the span of time. Okay. The last one, that is your technological environment. Technological environment also plays a very important role, because sometimes what happen, listen to this very carefully students, that there is a technology available with a company, but people might not be ready to accept that kind of a technology, or they might not be sufficient to pay for that technology. Say for an example, Japanese people are highly tech oriented, their mobile phones or their entire social system is highly technological advanced. Or say for example, in South Korea, people are highly advanced with the technology, but that doesn't mean that all those technology transfer can be done in India at a very immediate basis, because people might not be ready. We are still starving for electricity in many places. The government is doing a wonderful job to increase the electricity in every corner of India, but it may happen somewhere down the line that still people are starving for the electricity or for the paid connection or for the gas. So we cannot do this overnight, this will take certain time. Say for example, we are still starving with the 4G technology, and people are talking about 5G technology. The testing has been going on. There are countries where already 6G network has been tested, but it doesn't mean that we can come up here. For example, bullet train, for example, fast track train, we are still, there is a time where people need to understand, because if you see in India, there are still a kind of a jhupar are been there near the slums are been there near the railway tracks. So we need to move, we need to give a proper infrastructure, because even today we are running at a maximum speed of 120 to 150 kilometers per hour of a train, and we are talking about the trains that has a average speed of 200 kilometers per hour. So there is a huge paradigm shift. So to bring this paradigm shift, we should be tech ready. If we are not that much technologically advanced, we may face a problem. Fine, the technology may fail as soon as possible, and that investment in the technology of the marketer wouldn't pay enough back to the marketer. All right, so just take a moment, read this entire paragraph so that you can understand in a better way. Say for an example, in the second line it is written here: the technological environment constitute of the innovation, research and development in technology, technological alternatives and innovation incuments, and also technological barriers to a smooth operation. So I think we have discussed all these points, and you would be better able to understand if you see a recent example of the technology. For example, India definitely has a large labor force but lack in modern technology. Indian industries usually import technology from other countries, say for instance defense product. Now we have a huge requirement of a defense product, but we still do not have that kind of a technology what other countries are been looking for. All right, so we need to still work upon with the technology. as you have learned already all these points in business environment, I don't think that you would have a huge problem with this. But in case you have any kind of a query, you can drop in your Google Classroom. We'll definitely try to solve it. I have already shared this notes, so you can take this notes, you can read this notes. But in case of any query, you can always come up with. All right, and as I have said, in the next week we'll be coming any day with the surprise quiz. So be ready with this surprise quiz, and do read this notes, and all the question would be coming with the content that we have already completed. Okay, thank you for the day.